Well, the 2015 Canadian federal election is over, and frankly, I'm a little bit surprised. We got a Liberal majority government. Frankly, this is not what I expected. I actually expected a minority government of either Conservative or Liberal. But at least the third world is spared somewhat by the fact that the Conservative government did not get a majority. In fact, they didn't win at all. Well, we should all keep in mind that this was very strictly an anti-Harper vote. And people weren't particularly pro-liberal, but they were very, very anti-Harper and everything that he had done over his entire time as Prime Minister. For a guy who claimed that he was going to clean up the unethical liberal government, a third of his Senate is under RCMP investigation. His ethics spokesman, the guy who's supposed to be out there about ethics, went to jail. What does that tell you? So I think that's really the ironic thing in the end, that despite all this, this was really all about rejecting Harper, not necessarily supporting Trudeau or not necessarily supporting Montclair. It was just about getting him out of office. Think about that. When you're an elected official, people were voting not because they thought the other guy was better, but because they know what a scumbag you are. And of course, as a result of this, Stephen Harper has stepped down as the leader of the Conservative Party. Of course, he did this through a statement read by somebody else. He didn't even come out in public to step down as Prime Minister. He didn't even face the public. He didn't even face the people who supported him. That's another really beautiful, telling thing about the career of Stephen Harper as Prime Minister. Now let's actually take a look at the number of seats held by various parties. The NDP got absolutely obliterated. The NDP went in very much behind the horse and was actually expected that there was a possibility that they could have a minority government, like they could actually win. Of course, this is very clearly not what happened. In fact, they got devastated. And even more surprisingly, they lost seats that they had traditionally held for decades. And perhaps even most surprising of all, in Spadina, Fort York, Olivia Chow lost to Adam Vaughan. That's right, Olivia Chow, the widow of the late Jack Layton, who's been like the cornerstone of the NDP, lost to the Liberal candidate in that area, and that certainly says something. Even the Green Party didn't do very well. But Elizabeth May was elected, but we expected that that would happen. However, if we shift over to Quebec, we see again another shift towards the Liberal as opposed to the orange storm that came from the last election where the NDP scored up a lot of seats during the election. Now, for some reason, the loss of the NDP seats, the NDP blamed the niqab issue in Quebec for shifting votes to the Liberals away from them, the NDP, which was in power. And I frankly don't get how that works. Now, unfortunately, I did vote NDP because Montclair said that he would scale back troops that had been sent overseas to help train forces to fight ISIS. He was going to reduce the number of Canadian forces overseas, which would be beneficial for imperialism, however little. It is a very small token gesture, but it is at least something. Of course, it's obvious now that I did not get what it is that I wanted, but at least I made some kind of an effort there. Essentially, in the end, nothing changes. The Canadian government is going to remain exactly the same. The Canadian public is going to remain absolutely the same, and Canadian imperialism is going to remain absolutely the same. Now, there might be a little bit of a change with it being a Liberal government, but I sincerely doubt it. But in the end, we had another federal election, another election where the bourgeoisie still remain in power, and the Canadian public is still convinced something's changed. If you like this video and you'd like to see more of them, then head over to my Patreon page and show your support. Or you can go to the MRN bookstore and check out some of the latest books available. Don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and share on various social media.